sorry guys with the stop streaming and then starting stream. Hopefully that didn't jar you guys too much. We realized that the aspect ratio was weird and is still weird on this screen. I'm just gonna smush it a little bit. I'm just moving it around. If that's jarring, I'm sorry. I think I fixed it. Okay, so hi. Welcome to another session of Final Fantasy X with me, Morgan, and featuring now Josh with additional commentary and to help fill in some of the silences while we're grinding through. Thank you so much for joining. It's been a rough week. I feel like it's been like a rough month for people so far. It's definitely been a rough month for me. Yeah, I feel like it's been like a combination of, I don't know about any of you, but all of my work stuff suddenly became like very intense and stressful, and I'm short-staffed at work right now, so it's just like extra, and I'm just not handling it as well as I used to. Maybe it is because I'm getting older, or maybe it's because I have lost depth to my like woosah well during this whole pandemic. So, but yeah, good things to announce. I am the proud auntie to a brand new niece that arrived last Friday. She's gorgeous, and we're really excited to welcome her into the family. What else is going on? What are some other good things we can start our stream in to like brush off some of the gross? We did. We also had an episode released. That's all really good stuff. What else? 52. Wow. Which I have to edit the next episode, which is going to be, I'm so excited to get it released to you guys because it is all Barty, and because it's all Barty, it's all super fun Nick shenanigans. And speaking of Nick shenanigans, Nick got married last weekend. From the photos, it was beautiful. We have so much love for Nick and his wife Jess. Yeah, that's a happy thing. You can take happiness in that. So yeah, there's some good things. I hope there are good things happening with you in chat if you guys are there. And yeah. Okay, so last time we ran up the highway. Not highway. Yeah, the main road. And then we got to Rin's. You think you're muted? You are. Josh has been muted this whole time because I haven't had the audio open. Sorry. You should be able to hear him now. He basically said that we had a really good stream yesterday with Bucky and Josh that went well once they got unstuck. And complimentary things about Nick. Sorry. I forget that.
And yesterday was episode 52 releasing. We had 54 episodes in Strahd, so now we have a year more of releases for Storm King's Thunder. So this is a much heftier season and a lot more content coming.
Yes. So sorry for the muting thing there. But yeah, so we ran up the main pathway, the main road. And then we got to Rin's shop. We fought a chocobo eater. And then I ran around with the chocobo and got all of the chests that you can't reach on your own that you have to use the chocobo for in the next bit of road. But what I wanted to do is that there's some story things along that road, people we can talk to, that I wanted to do on foot. So, this save is slightly different from the save before. So if you look at the seer grid and you're like, hold up, that's real different from what we had last time. It is. I did a whole bunch of grinding and I leveled up people slightly differently than I did when we went through our playthrough. So the good thing is that I got a ton of ability spheres in this playthrough. So a lot of people that were stuck in last session, I have unstuck and I've moved around. Kimari, I'm trying to... it kind of went the wrong direction for him. Not wrong, but a more labor-intensive direction for him to get some stuff. So he doesn't have scan yet, and he doesn't have the like whatever his, I think it's to have them drop mana spheres. I haven't gotten that yet, and I'm moving him around to get that. So other good things, good news stuff is that Josh bought me Mass Effect, the Legendary Edition, and I have been playing that as much as I can. And I was telling him that I really struggle with the keyboard playing of games because I'm so used to console and controllers. But the PlayStation controller that I use for, you know, Final Fantasy, the buttons don't quite match and it's hard to kind of remember what's happening. So he bought me an Xbox controller, which I'm now using on here so that hopefully all the buttons match now and I don't have to worry about that. So thank you for being the best boyfriend ever, Josh.
You're welcome. I was going to ask you if you were going to switch controllers for this game as well.
Yep.
You answered my question.
I am. Now, that probably won't change too much. But yeah, now things will actually match to what they're supposed to be. Hopefully I will be better at Auron's overdrive. So we did this part last time on the Chocobo, but there are just like some dialogue things that can happen. We can talk to people. And we do the grinding bit as well. Okay. Oh, I am going to have to figure out the buttons here. Attack, okay.
It's still the same layout, right?
It's kind of similar. So, the PlayStation has the D-pad right to the, like, most accessible left button. Or like left side, and the Xbox has the left analog stick up there, like a weird, like additional nipple. So it takes just like a little bit of getting used to. Okay. And let's swap out for Lulu.
So do you have a specific goal
next?
for this session of what you're aiming to get to?
So I am... Oh, that would be bad. We don't want to heal it. We want to kill it. I was just looking at that going, ice! I should use ice on it. No, I should use the opposite of that. I would like to get to, if possible... Depending on how much time we spend on here, there is this next little bit here. Wait, why is that closed? Oh, because I didn't do it on this one. Le fuck. Okay, I'll go back. And we'll do it. Okay. So let's... White magic. Let's do no... Blaze. I'm real sleepy. Okay. Oh, I have coffee. I need to.
You do have coffee. You made the coffee. Which, I mean, John said that this was maple bacon coffee.
Yes.
He said it tastes like maple and not bacon.
Be quiet.
I say John is full of shit because I tried it and I tasted a lot of bacon. What do you think?
I think it tastes like maple, but I have sugar in it, which enhances the mapleness of it. So it is perhaps. Let's just do a murder.
Let's see how tough you are.
Oh my god, why is that taking so long? Hello, come on. Well, maybe we won't do a murder. That's silly. I was spinning that thing so damn much. Okay. Not that. White magic, we're gonna do no blaze spot.
I also realized I did not get you a appropriate green logo border
For this game?
for your streams.
Oh, that's
Because we have
okay.
the new setups.
I am Yeah, Josh spent some time doing some really beautiful like new graphics and layouts for YouTube, which look really
Twice.
nice. Really twice, because the first time he did it, the place on YouTube where the like duration is covered up the session number.
Sure
so he
did.
flipped things around. Hi. Oh, Tolt, you changed your name. I like it. Well, you didn't change your name. Your name stayed the same, but your
It changed the Twitch
your
handle.
Twitch name changed.
But I now have a new border for you. Because I'm good at the multitasking.
You sure are.
So that way, hopefully, by next time, as long as I pass everything to you, we should be good with that.
Cool.
That way, everything's all branded accordingly.
Branded like we're real
Correct.
streamers.
Professional.
Professionals. Look. Well, let's get the Kamari in here, and we'll just. Wow. He might self-destruct. Oh, okay. Cool. Bye-bye. Alright, so what we'll do is we'll take the chocobo, we'll open up all those chests again for fun, because who doesn't love the chocobo music, and then we'll come back right here and we'll start again. So. Power sphere, dope. Okay. Run, Titus.
Fetus.
So, okay. Technically speaking, that's his name.
Because that's how they pronounce it in the game.
That's how they pronounce it in Japan. Is
How they
that
pronounce it in the game.
yeah, I guess, but they never say his name in game. Because you can
Oh yeah,
I won't
because
go
you
so
could
easy
change
on
the
you next
character
time.
Yeah, so you can name him whatever you want. So it's never spoken in the game, but from what I have heard, and hopefully I'm wrong about this, I'd love to be wrong about this, is that Titus is apparently the correct pronunciation of that name. But, frankly, I don't like it.
Well, also there was a difference, if I recall correctly, in Final Fantasy VII, when we got it in America, Aerith was Aerith? Or no,
Yeah.
or Aerith was Aerith, or the other way around. I've now forgotten at this point because it's just meshed. But we just saw the name differently.
Yeah,
So
and
it's different
there might have
pronunciation.
been some differences there. I for certain, it's a nod to the Japanese tradition of having a silent protagonist and is relevant to the plot. That is true. That is true. Okay.
It's also hard for
Wait.
names that we're not used to seeing, and we only see them in text. Like a classic thing that we went through, well, I went through, was an Animorphs with Tobias. Tobias was how I pronounced it, because I've never heard that name before. Tobias.
Aw.
I didn't know how to pronounce it, so that's what it was. And I know a lot of people dealt with that with other character names in novels, and all of a sudden it got brought to like film. I'm like, wait, how are you pronouncing that name? That's stupid. That's just not how you.
Yeah,
have it
I
in
mean
your head.
that's language for you, right? Because like,
Yep.
let's
That's inconsistent languages. For you.
actually. I've done a lot of grinding, so maybe what I can do is I can just get off and get back on, and we can do this like. We can talk to these people.
Word has gotten around about me. Now all the Crusaders are ignoring me.
Good, you're annoying. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna talk to this dude.
We are currently traveling a part of the Mihan High Road called the New Road. Naturally, that suggests that there is or was an old road.
Oh, thank you. Okay, so we're back on here. Bump, 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 bump. And
All your files are created, by the way, so hopefully we can get that set up for you for next time.
thanks, pal. Okay.
You're welcome.
Damn it. Sorry. This is button stuff that is muscle memorying out of, but okay, we came from that way. We're gonna go down here. So actually, this way of like going by Chocobo and not doing all this grindy stuff is actually probably gonna get us further to where I want to go, which I'd love to end up at Jose. we've just got some stuff in between that it might take a little bit longer. I also might just be forgetting the like sequence of events. Might be getting them a little out of order.
Well, you know them better than I do.
Yeah. I think from here we go through the gates, and then we've got some like mushroomy rock area to go through, and oh, hello, safe. And then we get to an area where the Crusaders are making one of their they're gonna make their stand. It goes poorly. They don't know that yet. Alright. Mars Crest. Dope. Do you have a naming scheme for your summons? My latest playthrough used... Ooh! Salune. I don't know what you mean by my latest playthrough used FR deities. I don't know what
Forgotten Realms.
Oh, Forgotten Realms. Okay.
Deities.
Deities, yeah, okay. That is, I probably should have been able to make that extrapolation, but I didn't. I usually name them the names that they have. I usually don't deviate from that
You can't
too
run a
much.
business with no customers.
Same here. I think it was John who had in his
Spares
Final Fantasy VII playthrough. I think somebody was named like Piccolo and like other Dragon Ball Z characters, and it completely took me out of that narrative because all I
Make it
can
up
do is just merge it with Dragon Ball Z instead.
Yeah.
I always keep the names that it suggests.
Yeah, and some of them just fit really well. Like, Shiva feels like a Shiva.
What are you doing
Yeah,
on
well,
this
I mean,
boat?
especially in Final Fantasy, all
Well, you
these
know.
deities
I
are
see.
like
The high
or
road ends over there.
aeons or whatever you call them in whichever
However,
game. They're
we
all
have sealed off the area
consistent.
beyond for the duration of our operation here.
like from
You
game
may
to game.
ask the gate captain up ahead
I
if
think
you need to pass through.
renaming stuff is really good for like the comedy kind of game podcast because like
Grumps.
Grumps, right? Like Grumps is the perfect example of this with like Smurf and all of their like Link names that are not Link. And I think if you're gonna do a bajillion Zeldas, yeah, I think it's kind of fun to rename them in that way. But for me, I don't run upon I'm not funny, so I don't, and I'm not.
Sorry?
I'm not
What?
looking at for the lulz.
I refuse to say that that's the reason you don't do it. I think you don't do that because you're really invested in the story and you don't want it to detract from it.
That's exactly what it is. You're
Not
absolutely
funny.
correct.
Go home.
Gee, Captain Lucille and Elma should have been here by now.
They're hanging out. Okay. That's a child. I know how to ride a chocobo. Oh, hey, look at these two. Haha.
How many times do I have to tell you I'm a summoner?
Sorry, ma'am. No exceptions.
Someone needs to tell her
You
that the
dare
back of her
impede a summoner's
and the front of her
pilgrimage?
dress are
I was about to say.
tampered
Sorry,
with.
It's-
ma'am.
it's-
No exceptions.
I love how she decided
Useless.
to go on her her journey with like those heels and like oh man, like I gotta hand it to her. She bold as shit.
It was a choice.
It was a
Uh,
choice. Is it a
yeah.
choice that I would have made? Abso-fucking-lutely not. No. But that's on her. Okay. Can I talk to you guys?
Oh, it's you.
Hi, Donna.
As you can see, not even summoners can pass. But they'll call on us in the end. Just wait and see. In the meantime, I think I'll have a nap.
There's also like that shopkeep in the place where we
Bartello.
first started. Like, who runs a cash register like that?
Yeah.
The Mushroom Rock Road is off limits to non-Crusader personnel until the end of the
Granted,
mission.
different cultures, different setup, whatever. It was just kind of jarring to see.
Yeah, we can go. I've done a lot of grinding, so we should be okay. All right, let's see if we can scooch through.
Gata and Luzu reporting, sir.
I was
This is
thinking
the
this
last of
before
them.
when we were watching.
Good to have you
oh,
with
I'll
us.
wait till this.
Go on through.
Show me how to play Blitz sometime.
Wait around. We'll have Sin beaten in no time.
You were thinking about what?
I was just waiting for the cutscene to be over. Okay, so when we were watching Day 9, and we were watching them play King's Quest V, I had a thought about the developers. Because when King's Quest V came out, or any of those old Sierra LucasArts games, the internet wasn't a thing at all. Like, not even just Twitch or, Twitter or whatever. The internet, we didn't have it.
Right.
It just didn't exist yet. So I wonder what some of these developers, including the ones from like Final Fantasy, because Twitch wasn't a thing when PlayStation 2 was out. Like, we barely had network capability for that. Where all these developers are thinking of games that they made for people to play in their own homes, to be explored in such a setting as Twitch.
Yeah, that's so public. Yeah, and
Yeah.
especially as one is like Final Fantasy X is such like a weird personal spiritual journey. Yeah, interesting. I hadn't really thought about it that way, but yeah, I wonder that audience experience did change drastically. You and I were talking the other day as well, because the Mass Effect Legendary game came out, and I know me and also like Eugenio, we had both issues, as well as a lot of other people, of like we pre-downloaded the game. Hi Nate, hello. Haven't heard
What's
from
up,
you in
Nate?
a bit. Hello. But we had pre-downloaded the game, but then it took, I think, 3.5 hours for me to unpack. And there was like that so much frustration of like, well, I downloaded the game, I want to be able to play it. It was also, no, that's okay. I want to say hi.
Nate, you can derail any conversation you want to.
You can
Done.
derail anytime. You've earned it. There's like that frustration of like, well, I've downloaded the game, I want to play it. I was also PMSing and I was having a really rough week, so I was so miserable that I couldn't just play Mass Effect. But I think that it's interesting, right? Because then afterwards, you and I were talking about it, and it turns out that a bunch of people went on like the Steam reviews and negatively reviewed Mass Effect for Steam's unpacking. And it just seems like such an unfair thing, because it's like, it's not Mass Effect's fault that it took so long to unpack. It's 3 games plus DLC in one tiny, not tiny, but like computer package. And that the game delivery system has just changed so much from like, I go out and buy a game at like midnight release and then I plunk it into my computer and it's go time,
But not even that, of like cartridges for SNES or N64, like no install time, whatever. You put it in, you're done.
Right, and same, like, I'm used to playing games on console, especially back in the day. You just got a disc and you put it in and you were done. So it just, it's interesting. And I thought also, like, there's so much pressure on people, especially now when they're doing, like, streaming. And they say, okay, I've got this game release. Like, I felt so bad for Eugenio because he had this whole stream event, planned around when this game was going to be available. And then the game just took so long to unpack that it kind of messed up his plans a lot. And he's a professional. He recovered from it, beautifully. But, there is all this, like, additional thing of, like, it's not just releasing for people to play. It's releasing for people to, like, show, It's interesting.
Yeah. The same thing went on with Baldur's Gate 3.
donation
I
toward
remember when that
Operation
came
Meat-
out, like, even people like, Kate Welch, who was working for Wizards at the time, she was posting about the issues she was having with trying to load the game up too.
Hey,
And
you're
like,
a summoner.
she's really close to that product, but
What,
she wasn't
they
able
didn't
to
tell you?
touch it at all. Like, we all
We're
had this
bringing
very
Sin
similar
Spawn from
experience
Oliver
of just
Spear
needing
here.
to wait
Sin
for the stuff
spawn
to happen.
inevitably
And
draws sin, right?
the companies were,
We're going to lure it
I guess,
into a trap.
unfairly ripped upon because people just don't want to wait anymore. Which is funny, because we went from like an instantaneous mindset of how we get media to understanding that you need to download and install and buffer to if it doesn't happen quick enough, it now sucks and it is the worst thing ever. I need to negative review it.
Yeah.
And smash it.
I mean, that's also just like part of like human development and nature as well, because like, you know, back in the day, if you wanted to go on the internet on your phone, first off, you'd hit that button on your flip phone and then you would wait 3 minutes and panic thinking, oh God, oh God, oh God, my mom's gonna kill me if this connects to the internet, because it's gonna be like a $5 charge just to like open the damn browser.
That window was terrifying.
Right? And then, you know, everything took a long time to load. I was talking to John and Bucky the other day as well about how, you know, we are putting off an awkward steamer encounter. I hate him. I don't want to talk to him. But also I'm bad at multitasking. I shall clarify. I'm good at multitasking. I am bad at doing things with my hands and talking about something else at the same time. So, probably doesn't make me a decent streamer, but we're in it for a conversation right now. I was talking about the, back when I was in college and I watched Doctor Who for the first time. And Netflix was really new, and I was on a college campus on my like old chunky like PowerBook, I think, and it was like loading at like 5-minute intervals, and then it would have to buffer for like another 10 minutes, and then it would play for 5 minutes, and it would buffer, and then like the Netflix of 10 years ago is vastly different from the Netflix that we have today. And same thing for any technology thing is like now when something doesn't like load instantaneously, we get irritated by it, like oh my God, this is taking forever. Meanwhile, if you wanted to like load a photo on your web browser 7 years ago, 10 years ago, you could just hit that and then go make a cup of coffee and it would still be loading, you know?
Oh, longer than that, probably like 15 to 20 years ago.
Yeah, I guess. I remember being on LiveJournal and have like photo photo posts. I can't remember, photo compilation posts.
Well, those hit hard, especially like MySpace and such, where the pure amount of graphics and the resolution of those files just crammed in this small space. That's what took a long time, because it would just send you just a feed of shit.
Yeah, back in 2007, 2006 on LiveJournal, when people would post like all of their My Chemical Romance photos on LiveJournal that everybody wanted to share, it took a while for those posts to load. But yeah, sorry, Told's right. I'm just doing nothing here. So, I talked to this guy. You were talking about Kate, so I think that it got missed. But basically, the plan for the Crusaders is that they are taking a whole bunch of sin spawn from all over, and they are dumping it in one place to draw sin to where they want it to be, because sin goes where there's lots of sin spawn, and they're gonna try and just artillery.
I'm sorry, I can't let you pass.
Okay, bye. Just kidding. It's an awkward Seymour encounter.
Ah, okay.
We have to see more of him eminently.
So, we meet again, Lady Yuna.
Yes?
You look troubled. Is there anything I can do?
Well...
Everyone seems real happy to be there.
Mm-hmm.
Maester Seymour, let me show you to the command center.
He's got such
Hold. I have
an
a request.
interesting outfit.
Yes, Your Grace.
I need to have Summoner Yuna and her guardians
Yeah.
let through to the command center.
Like, it's
But-
not
But Maester
flattering,
Seymour,
because it makes him
Maester
look like
Seymour,
he's got like
sir.
a Budweiser belly.
Do not worry.
And it looks like he got dressed in
I
the
will
dark.
take full responsibility.
Nate says, I remember buying a PC game when
Very well,
Steam
they may
first
pass.
came out, and there was a code in the box, and I was confused as hell and don't think I've ever downloaded the game. I just didn't get what to do.
Oh man, Steam, when
It
it
is
first
done.
came out, This may be surprising to
Thank
people
you, Your
who
Grace.
have Steam now and see what it is. Steam was a god-awful piece of shit when it first came out. It was the thing you ripped off your computer as long as you
Yuna,
could,
it's time
but
to
you
go.
needed it for like Half-Life or whatever.
Right.
It was awful. So later on, when people are like, "Oh, I use Steam for my games now," I'm like, "Why would you? Why would you do that?"
Is.
And it's great.
He's a maester. Better get used to it, yeah?
Yeah, Steam was always broken. It would take forever to load. It was a memory hog. Everything about it was just awful. But it was a product that it was before its time and learned how to be better.
Yeah, I think there are a lot of programs like that that have started off kind of weird or chunky
Brave
and then
Crusaders
have
of Spira,
luckily
protectors
over
of all
time
Spira.
gotten better.
Believe in the
Figured their
path
shit
you
out.
have chosen. Let faith be your strength.
Yeah. And then
I,
things happen
Seymour
like Epic
Guado,
Games Store,
Maester
which
of
can't
Yevon,
figure out a good
will
GUI.
bear witness to your deeds today.
Sir!
Well, also I think the Epic Games Store is into some
What's going on?
like weird
Why
stuff.
is
with the
Maester
Apple Store
Seymour
and
back in the
Fortnite.
Crusaders, eh? They're using Albed's Machina.
Yes.
They're violating the teachings.
Even going against the teachings, they're willing to risk it for the greater good.
Is that audio really weird for you?
Waka, I think Maester Seymour sees that too.
Is it funky?
No, just for
you?
me. It's good on stream, so I'm good.
I can only speculate.
Ask him yourself.
Ah, Sir Oran, it is an honor. I would be most interested in hearing what you've been doing these past 10 years.
I've got nothing to say about it.
It's been Hot Boy decade.
I see. Sir Oran must be a great asset as a guardian.
Your Grace.
Please, there's no need for formalities.
Excuse me. Maester Seymour, why is your lordship present here, sir?
Please, speak as you normally would.
Isn't this operation against the teachings of Yevon? Aren't you gonna stop them?
It's true. I should. However, both the Crusaders and the Al-Bhed truly wish peace for Spira. This Operation Mihen was born from that wish they share. Although it may be sacrilege to Yevon, their intentions are pure. And I, Seymour Guado, the person, not the Maester of Yevon, as a denizen of Spira, I wish them well in their endeavor.
But using Machina, that's bad, isn't it?
Pretend you didn't see them.
Beg your pardon, but that's not something a Maester should say.
Then pretend I didn't say it.
You're kidding.
Is he a bad guy?
Seymour?
From the first
Yeah.
time I
Yes.
laid eyes on him, I never did like Seymour.
He is
But you know,
he is
some of the things he said
one
that
of the
day,
big baddies.
they made a lot of sense
So,
to
as a
me.
reminder, I only got to the Lightning Temple.
So Jose, yeah. So we're on our way there. So Seymour is interesting. He the joke about Seymour is that like he is extremely present in this game in that you experience him more times than you think you should experience him. But
How do you mean? Like he's too prevalent?
I don't want to spoil too much for you.
So without spoiling anything, I just want to dissect what you said before of like that he is around too much. Do you think like him being around too much detracted from him being an effective villain?
Excuse me, Lady Summoner Yuna?
Yes.
Perhaps.
The command center.
Okay. I'll leave it alone because
Maester
apparently
Seymour
this is hard
requests
to
your
talk
presence
around.
there, ma'am.
Thank you.
And told I will take my opinion of Seymour eventually.
Take that road to
And
the
I'll
command
report back
center.
when I have an
it's
opinion.
not far.
All I
We're
know
still
is he
in the midst of
dresses
preparations this way.
like he
Sorry.
jumps into his dresser.
Yep. Just immediately. Ooh.
Oh, look at that little Komodo dragon thing. That's
It
pretty
is time. Yeah, so this definitely is where we level up a smidge on the old enemies. Okay, we need to get Waka in here. All right, Waka, 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 Waka.
Bring it on.
Dark attack. Bom, bom, bom. I should. Wondering what I should do here. I'm gonna get everybody a turn, and then I'm gonna have Yuna summon, just so we can help level up. Okay, skill, dark attack. Let's do the not them. Okay, cool. And Yuna. Let's do Ifrit. So many pieces of outfits in this game seem to have vital pieces missing, Tolt says. You are absolutely correct. So many of them have just so much missing out of the ass. Which, listen, I'm not kink or slut shaming nobody in Final Fantasy Pixels. But it is interesting to see such a it is fascinating to see a game in which a culture is specifically and intentionally deeply faithful or religious, not have that aspect of like Christianity attached to it, of like the modesty aspect of dress and like revealing of your body. It's an interesting culture dynamic, I would say.
Yeah, I'm also curious of like other concept, like where the designs came from. Like, are they merged from other cultures? So I did something which I normally don't do, which is in an MMO look at the general chat. Because normally it's nonsense and awful. I've found that in a lot of different games. But I stumbled in upon a very interesting one in ESO yesterday, where they were discussing where a lot of the tie-ins for the different cultures and species and races, whatever, in ESO come from. And supposedly there's a lot of just like Asian tie-ins, or I think like Mesopotamian for one of them. Like it pulls from like a Polynesian culture and just a ton of different places. So now when I go in, I'm keeping an eye out for all that kind of stuff.
Good.
Supposedly ESO hits
Sneak past the guards, I did.
Okay. Oh, he doesn't have any softs. Oh, that sucks. Okay.
Softs? What's a soft?
Soft cures
Petrification?
Petrification. Yes.
I heard like soft, S-O-F-F. What?
No, soft.
So,
we making a fortune with Operation. But you, lad, you get a discount. I owes you one, eh?
No, I heard sauce and he doesn't have the sauce. The Owaka sauce. Yeah. No, the soft. Need to enunciate better. Told says, my only issue is the amount of drag some of those things would create during Blitzball. Final Fantasy X is definitely supposed to be a fusion of Japanese and American cultures based on the two protagonists as representatives of each. Yes, absolutely. Like, obviously, Yuna is just straight, Japanese, like, with the obi that she's got, the kind of kimono sleeves. So, yeah, it, and Auron is extremely grumpy samurai.
That's very interesting. I never put that together.
That Auron's a samurai?
No. The that Titus is supposed to reflect like American meeting like Japanese culture, like with Titus and Yuna.
Yep, I actually think Told mentioned it the last time we streamed or so, but maybe it was the one where you weren't on. Yeah, it's definitely that mix of stuff. There was also something that Seymour said that I want to bring to your attention, just in case you missed it. He talks about how the Al Bhed and the Crusaders have a shared like dream of this, and that he is supportive of that wish. That's a really important theme in this game, of like trying to fulfill your dreams or wishes.
Okay. Sorry, I was missing the thread there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that being mentioned of like what people want and being able to achieve.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that was very blatant with Blitzball right off the bat.
Right, like that's Waka's dream. His dream is to, you know, win a Blitzball tournament, you know. Yuna talks about how she wants to live in a place that is as beautiful as like the Mihan, you know, sunset place. You know, yes, Oren's not just a samurai, but a Ronin. I'm gonna be perfectly honest. I don't know enough about Ronins and or samurais to make a definitive talk to make me sound intelligent about that, and would probably just sound very silly. So I'm gonna, if you have more details on that Told, you are welcome to add them to chat, and I will read them out for the benefit and education of us all.
A Ronin, quickly, is a drifter or wanderer,
Mm-hmm.
where they didn't like have a lord or master, when a samurai usually served somebody.
Okay, yes. So that is a very specific difference there, because he used to serve somebody and now no longer does.
Yeah. That's also why Hawkeye changed to being Ronin as well when he went rogue.
Gotcha. Rogue's not in the Avengers. They couldn't get the license.
Not what I meant.
I know.
You want some of this?
Masterless samurai signified by only one sleeve. Ooh, it's an actual sleeve thing as well. Okay, interesting.
Oh,
those little mushroom bastards are a pain in the ass, and we are gonna silence them. Donk. Okay. Yeah, I forgot that it's not something I can silence. Okay, well...
So, based on that sleeve thing, I ended up pulling up some artwork of Jin from Samurai Champloo. Mm-hmm. And there was a major portion when he only had, like, one sleeve as well, when he was fighting. It was when his hair was, like, all down and it wasn't ponytailed up and everything.
Was it towards the end?
I think so, yeah.
Gotcha. I love
I also wanted to look up Henshin.
Oh, yeah! Oops. Don't want that. Blizzard.
Henshin usually got his sleeves on.
Actually, I probably could get away with a regular Blizzard. Let's try that. But yeah, there's a lot of talking about dreams and wishes in this game.
Enough.
Which brings me to Nick when we were doing the podcast of foes.
Yeah.
And I cast Wish, and I'm like, I wish that didn't exist anymore. He goes, what? You can't just say your hopes and dreams.
Yeah,
no,
that
it's
was
a spell, man.
An incredible moment in podcast history of like, that's cute, Josh, but you can't just
that's your action. That's
your
it?
enemy out. Resist to magic. Well, he's got a magic sword. Yeah. Okay. Blizzard. I will swap that guy's sword out in a second.
That's why playing with Nick, it can be a lot of fun. Like, there's a lot of reasons for it, but Nick is still relatively new to a lot of the game, and the only stuff he knows is what we've done for the podcast, mostly. He's done some DMing for Lost Mines of Fandelver as well. But it's great seeing his outlook on different things, or the way he interprets the rules, or not knowing that some rules exist. Like, he's fully committed to the idea that if you're concentrating on a spell, you can't do shit.
Yeah.
Which we're like, no, man, you can do other stuff. Like, don't waste your turn. But he's fully engaged. I'm like, nah, if I need to concentrate, I gotta concentrate. That's what I gotta do.
He is very good at not. It's funny because Nick will sometimes do a thing where he'll want to like map out what he wants to do so that he knows he can do it in advance, which is not so. But he's very careful not to like actively metagame, right? So like he is good about saying, "Oh, my character wouldn't know that or wouldn't do that." You know, I'm doing my own thing over here. So, there's like a fear in him sometimes of like not knowing for sure if he can do something. So he'll do the like, okay, what if or can I do like X, Y, and Z to get to this result? But he makes him a really like fun player. Oh wait,
I just hear him a couple directions at times. Just be like, no, man, just do the thing, and then we'll roll. We'll figure it out. You can try. To Mercer, you can certainly try.
Yep. Let's try that. Okay.
It also depends on who's DMing too, because some people are a little bit more pulled in with what can fly, which is usually my playthrough, and some other people are like full rule of cool, let's do it, which tends to be like Drew's playstyle, and Bucky is a nice middle point in between the two. So it's good to see someone like Nick being able to, you know, under different DMs, be able to do different things like that. It's the same with Lab Rats when we did that with Lauren as well.
Yeah.
Told says Jug of Sake is apparently another Ronin icon, but it's more like a Hollywood version of the Ronin, not actual history. And Nate says, yeah, give me the player that says, quote unquote, here's what I want to try every time.
So when I was very lucky to do the Dark Sun campaign with Nate, I really enjoyed him as a DM just because I would be able to say, like, I want to do something that's not quite like a full attack, but here's how I want to use like the area to my advantage, and he was always so willing to let me do cool stuff, even at the detriment of him as a DM and his poor monsters that we just steamrolled. So
I was Blades in the Dark when he ran that for us as well. Of just, you know, let's just see what happens, and you, all right, let's do it.
I feel
just
like
have fun.
And Nate can speak more intelligently to this, just I know he's run it a whole bunch of times, but I feel like Blades in the Dark is extremely like choose your own cool vibe.
We've been expecting you.
Like,
Nate's crying facing my monsters.
I just remember there was this one specific time where like we had crushed you at least twice before, and you were like, this time I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna get him, and like I think it was over within like maybe 3 or 4 rounds, and you were so sad. But but it was really cool to have it was really cool in that game because I was playing a bard, and I hadn't really played a bard before, and I was specifically playing a bard that did not really attack things, but was very specifically about like the field manipulation of like hindering things. I think I cast like slow on people or having people at disadvantage. So it was a very interesting like play style that I wasn't as familiar with, but was very fun to explore, and Nate just let me have free reign with it, so it was really great.
I'll read out Nate's other
Thanks.
stuff. It says 100% sure on that is 100% for sure on that is quote unquote super rules light, and I loved it. Every freaking time, the final monster I homebrewed just to give you all the challenge. And
it was scary. I know we were all like collectively shitting our pants about that. We were like, this is the time Nate's gonna just straight up murder us.
Well, that you from my understanding from that campaign, especially with Teapot and just you being you Sam Regaled quite a few situations. Of, like, being the bard. and just messing things up with spells.
Yeah, I did. I think one of the first things we did, I completely jimmied Nate's jams by casting, I think it was blindness, deafness on the enemy. And it just totally like disabled them or in a way that, or incapacitated them in a way that was just like,
so I decided
okay.
that I would do everything in my power.
Yeah, there's a couple of mechanics or spells or abilities in there, like between counterspell and deafness, blindness, stunning strike. Like there's some mage or sentinel. It can really wreck your day as a DM, but at the same time, the DM can learn those tools and start working them back.
One of my favorite examples of this in Critical Role is when Matt spent just a ton of time planning a sea battle, and Caduceus just whooped the ship away. Or like it just like I think it was
control
like
water,
control watered, flipped the enemy ship like upside down and was like, all right, bye. And Matt was just like,
yeah, put away all of his mechanics.
Yep.
Nate says, I think playing other games helps so much in running D&D. It just gets you in the mindset of to allow whatever to happen and just go with the story the player wants to be in. Yeah, getting to know other systems, especially also like seeing other DMs, playing with other people. That's why I was so... Well, one of the reasons I was so behind doing the podcast sub-series was getting people that you're... like tables that they're so familiar with each other and forcing them to play with other people. And audiences getting to hear those reactions too, to encourage the idea of variation at your table. It can change the entire way you play, how you run games, and you can incorporate more or less into your repertoire.
Yeah, I also oh, it's on short. Good. Okay. Like I'm in the Star Trek game, and before that I did the Conan game, and it's a 2D20 system which I have never played before doing it with Conan in a gamer's table. And there's so much of that like I just really like, of like there's a lot of stuff you can do just to like if you can justify it, like okay, here's my skill set, here's what I kind of want to do, and it gives you a lot of room to make very interesting character decisions. So I've been having a blast with that. I know my both of my characters that I played Conan with Cornelia and with Gideon in Star Trek, like I was able to make some very interesting choices from both of those character perspectives. So like for Cornelia was another character that did not do combat. She was a scholar. She had no combat skills, and like I routinely roleplayed her as being very like upset and like traumatized when there was violence. Like I think I roleplayed her barfing at least 3 or 4 times, you know. Which I love, because it's I think those kinds of characters are really rare in D&D, because D&D is sort of set up so that you're just a combat character, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's based off of a war game. Like the combat is so ingrained into it, and there's ways to go around it. Of like, you know, having your combat encounters be on the easier scale, having your, you know, players a little bit more overpowered with magical weapons. You know, there are ways to get around it, or even just negating combat in general and just using it for RP mechanics.
Yeah, and I would say that, you know, Drew did a really good job in Storm Kings. Like when we first got introduced to Zell, and he was like very much like, oh, I don't do combat. It was weird at first, because, you know, this sort of expectation is that everybody here is doing combat, right? But having a character that said, no, I'm not comfortable with that, I will help. Like, I will take non-violent assistance actions, was just a really radical way to play that character, and something that I think made that party very very unique and very interesting. So yeah, there are a lot of different ways to go about it. So play other games than D&D. It's like when you read books and you're like, oh, I want to write. But if you only read one genre of book ever, you're not going to be a very good writer, because you're going to learn other things from different genres of books. You're going to learn different writing styles. You're going to learn what works and what doesn't work. So do more stuff. Told says, reminds me of the 3.5 Oracle of Peace. I have never played 3.5, or I think I started to play 4 at one point, but the DM was such a trash person and DM that, like, every time we played, somebody made an escape attempt in some way. One, like, either they got really, really drunk, or I think at one point someone tried to do a cinnamon challenge just to not play the game. So I've only ever really played like 5e for D&D stuff.
For me, I started in 3.5. I don't remember the Oracle of Peace because I was 7th grade when I played, and I only played my wizard. I played AD&D and like standard first edition only through video games, so like Baldur's Gate and Icewind Dale, things like that. And then 4th edition I played with Rob, who was on our Valheim stream.
Mm-hmm.
Rob and I were co-managers at a movie theater. That's how we met about 15 years ago. And he ran the game along with somebody else from that group. And that was my introduction to 40. John was in that game for a little bit too. And then 5th edition, I started with John's homebrew game before we did Curse of Strahd. So 5th edition, I think I liked the most because of its versatility. 4th edition, I liked a lot if you're in person. The ability to manipulate the battlefield and do whatever you need to do in the minion mechanics was awesome.
But
still have no idea how healing surges work though. I know Adam, so Adam Carnivale from D&D Nerds runs a Descent into Avernus game, or Avernus, however you pronounce it, for Bucky, myself, and Nick, and Stephen Dunkelman. And every so often, Adam will come out with a rule or lingo or whatever, and it's such a hodgepodge of the other editions of D&D, especially since he started D&D for Nerds in previous editions. So it'll be like a listen check, or a will save, or a fortitude save. So we need to navigate like which rules are actually from which systems. But usually you can tell that because people say like make a will save instead of a wisdom check. Nate, yeah, me too. Just started. Definitely didn't start in AD&D in middle school in the early 90s. Nate, thank you for all the shit. Just gonna say.
Okay. Oops. Damn it.
I'm gonna be honest, Nate. You can take this very much as a compliment. I didn't think you were that much older than me at all. I thought we were around the same age.
Oh, good. This is good. Every time everybody going sleepy, go bye-bye.
Eye of the Beholder. Yes, that was the game I was trying to think of. Told, thank you. Eye of the Beholder was their intro to D&D, and backbuild later with Pool of Radiance. Pool of Radiance was... Oh, that sounded really familiar. What was that for? It was 1988. It was on the NES and DOS. Yes, okay. I remember it from DOS. Yeah, I was early into the computer game world when I was a kid. My dad introduced me, and my mom as well, when I was about 4 or 5. So a lot of DOS games were introduced, and I remember like Windows 3.1 and such for when I was real little. We just had to get rid of a lot of our old 3.5 and 5 1/4 floppies from all the games and software we had because there's a little bit of flooding in the basement back in the house I grew up in. Yeah, we had a shit ton of those. Told says, Pool of Radiance was DOS, also involved one of my first programming projects. Created a digital version of the wheel decoder that you needed to progress. Was that a physical wheel decoder that would cause you to not pirate the game? Was it one of those things? Do you know about this, baby?
No.
So, back in the days before the internet, companies had to protect against piracy for their games, and they couldn't do so with anything really software-based because people would just hand floppies to each other or copy floppy to floppy. It wasn't hard, or burn CDs. So with CDs, you had like CD keys, and that was your way around it. But before that, what they would usually do is games used to come with manuals, which is not a thing that normally they do anymore. But usually they were thick-ass manuals. Or they would come with tools, like little decoder wheels, or like little bits of things that would usually come in collector's edition nowadays, like little artwork or items. And in the game itself, it would ask you out of nowhere, it'd be like, hey, so on page 42 in the third paragraph, what's the fourth word?
Oh, I see.
Or they would refer to something a little bit more in universe of what's going on. Of like, oh, here's this thing to decode. What is it? And you would have to pull up the decoder wheel that it came with. And if you couldn't answer, it would kick you out of the game and you couldn't progress any further as a way of anti-piracy.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It was a very smart way to go about it, and it's why, or like Final Fantasy 1, for example, it kind of just starts you in the game. And you don't know what's going on because the intro to the story, if I remember right, is about the same game. The intro to the story and why you're there and all the cinematic ideas, it's in the manual before you start the game.
Oh, we've got
Why aren't you, sir? I want to fight too.
Orders are orders.
I'm not a cadet anymore, sir. Let me go with you and I'll prove it to them.
Guarding the command center is important too, you know.
But I came all the way from Besaid to fight Sin, sir.
I know, but an order's an order to your post, Crusader.
But, sir!
Oh, God. So, but I remember back on the ship where I talked to Lulu and Waka and got all of that backstory from them about, like, we kept talking to them. I think that is important for this moment because if you don't do that, you don't get this bit, or you don't get as much of this bit with Luzu.
Gotcha. Yeah, manuals were really important. You don't do that anymore. So that's why when people try to pull up old games and to start them, they run into the issue of piracy.
Not having the game. Okay, interesting. I wonder if they just make that like available online now so that you could just like look it up.
They do.
Okay.
Yes. So sometimes when you download old games, they'll include the manuals as PDFs. So that way you have them. But not everybody knows that that is something that would contain that information. They cover that on day 9 sometimes. They'll go into a game and they're like, where's this information? Why are they just assuming I know this? And like Lee or Sean will bring it up, like, you know, it's possible just in the manual. And we just don't have that.
All right, I'm gonna talk to this guy.
They let you through, huh?
Gata deserves better.
At least there's no chance he'll get hurt. Why are you guys fighting anyway? Aren't the almighty Al-Bed Machina enough?
They still need some time to get them ready. Our job is to keep Sin at bay till they're done.
It's our job to be a meat shield.
Waka.
That's good.
I might not get another chance to say this. It's about your brother.
Luzu, no!
What?
I'm the one who convinced him to enlist. I'm sorry.
Waka! That's enough, Waka!
It seemed like Luzu was a meat shield at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
When we used to play Blitz together, Chapu used to say, he said that when we won the cup, yeah, he proposed to Lulu. And then one day, he goes off and becomes a crusader, just like that.
Chapu also said to me that being with your girl is good. But keeping Sin far away from her is better.
Lu, you knew?
Luzu told me before we left.
She hit me too.
All Crusaders in the Vanguard are to assemble on the beach.
That's my cue.
Luzu, don't die out there.
So you can hit me more?
Lots more.
Suluzu, please. Please don't go.
I have to, Yuna.
Told us some meat shield.
Let
One
him go.
punch knocked him down. Yeah. But
The
Waka's
man
a
has
beefy
already
boy.
chosen his path, as you did when you became a summoner.
I don't know why, but my brain was like watching Waka punch him, Luzu go, Yuna try to stop him.
It
He
would be a
punches
long
Yuna.
time
Yeah.
Walks
before
past.
I ever really understood the reason why Yuna let Luzu pass that day.
Oh, yes, Nate. Absolutely. Have a good night, and we will absolutely game sometime soon. For sure.
Yeah, you have our numbers or Discord. Reach out, as always. Good to talk to you, man.
Please pet your dogs for me. I love them. So, sorry?
I was just about to say, Told mentioned before that curiously modern Switch cartridge cases still have clips to hold the manuals. I wonder if some games are actually coming with those, because I haven't bought a physical copy of a game in quite some time.
I don't know. Like, the manuals usually are kind of now built tutorial-wise into games now.
Yeah. Once this is done, I'll go into something concerning manuals.
Watch
Ow!
the incredible intelligence of Waka to kick a
He
metal cannon
really hates
with his
them,
flip-flops.
Very smart.
Chapu. He left the sword Waka gave him in Besaid. And he fought with an Al-Bed Machina weapon instead.
That's got nothing to do with it. I just hate these sacrilegious contraptions.
Yeah, Told the what looks like denim underneath open overall look is 100% why the Besaid Aurochs have not won a Blitzball game since I came along, because can you imagine the drag of all that water getting caught in that jumpsuit? Sucks. Anyway, sorry, continue.
Yeah, you're not going to be jumping in that jumpsuit.
Nope.
So what I used to do when I was little, and we had like Super Nintendo games in particular, or I don't know, PS1 or N64, like back when manuals were still used. I remember SNES in particular. when we were leaving like KB Toys with the new game, or if I had some downtime, or if I was grounded, which happened more often than I would like to say, because I couldn't shut my mouth. What I would do is grab all the manuals, or the manual when I would get the game first, and that would be my car ride home, and just read it cover to cover, which is very small usually, unless you're talking about Baldur's Gate 2, which was basically a novel, because of all the spells and such. But that's what I would do in my downtime, was to maybe learn more about the game, or different mechanics or hints or something. But you don't really get that anymore.
Yeah. So I want to point something out in that Final Fantasy X is a game that is really big on music, but there are moments where it doesn't have any music at all, and they are very specific and very important, I'd say, to the sense of things. So like just then we didn't have any music as we were walking around, and it very much feels like the calm before the storm.
It might be
I was about
a
to ask
hopeless
if my
campaign.
audio cut out.
No,
And it might
just doesn't
mean
have
defying
any,
Yevon.
no music
But
to that part.
the Crusaders and the Al Bhed, they're doing their best to defeat sin. They want to rid Spira of sin forever. And that's just what we want too, isn't it? Isn't it?
All right. But I still think Mackinac are bad news. They're forbidden for a reason.
Lady Summoner, there you are. The command center is that way. Maester Keenock is also there.
Maester Keenock too?
Yes. Please, hurry, my lady.
So when I first played this game, I got to just about here, and this was when I hadn't filled the sphere grid up at any point. So I did not progress because I couldn't get past the fight.
It was too hard and you couldn't grind, so you got stuck.
Yeah.
Yep,
And
that's what happened in 8 to me.
It was before I learned about multiple save files. Oh good, there's children. I can't talk to them. Hi, can you talk to me? Will you give me stuff?
Why is that tall child hitting his small father?
Yeah, crazy. Alright, let's talk to you. What do I want to know? Never mind.
The silence bit reminded me when it was one of the Star Wars movies came out. I think it was 8.
Oops.
They had to put a warning at a couple theaters saying that there was going to be about 14 seconds of silence or whatever it was in the middle of the movie. These people complained that the audio cut out during I don't like 8 very much, but it was one of the coolest visuals in all of Star Wars. And visuals and audio, just everything about it was great. But people thought that the audio just cut out and they missed a really cool sound moment. So people started complaining to theaters and like, no, that's just how it is. So they just warned people.
Which one was this?
I think that was 8. It was during... it was when someone went into hyperspace.
The operation will begin.
When things get in the way of hyperspace.
Gotcha, I see.
Of course not. I came here to fight sin, but they stick me here.
If you want to prove yourself.
Huh?
First, you must complete the tasks you are given.
Oh, did I have a very similar conversation with somebody who I worked with at one point like that? This is important.
Sometimes you gotta do it.
You'd think the same if you were me.
I'm pretty sure if you tell him the front lines are important, he tries to go down there. It's not good.
I had heard from Seymour, but I didn't know if we'd actually meet. Good to see you, Orin. 10 years, is it?
That guy's head looks so much bigger than Orin's head.
That's Wen Keenock, one of the 4 maesters of Yevon. He leads the warrior monks, and also commands the Crusaders.
All troops ready to move at your command, sir.
Good. Dismissed.
Sir.
Tell me, Orin, where have you been the last 10 years?
We don't have time for this now, do we?
This plan won't work. You know that. We'll just let them dream a little longer.
What?
Lord Keenock.
Oh, yes. Proceed.
That Keenock a maester?
I heard that, Orin. A lot has happened the last 10 years. What were you doing and where?
Fulfilling a promise I made to a friend. I still am.
Just tell me one thing. Have you seen Zanarkand?
I kinda think we don't belong here.
It is time at last. We must tell the Al Bhed waiting outside to begin the operation at once. The fiends may break through. This place is not safe. Make sure you're prepared to defend yourselves. Tell me when you're ready.
Okie dokie.
It's a very round face.
Very round. Trying to think if I should equip anybody with anything right now.
I think you're gonna equip and then save.
That's a smart choice. I have the red armlet on right now. Yeah, that's fine. Just like Hunter Spear. Sorry, I'm just trying to think of what I want to put on here.
Yeah, no worries. I
You're
wasn't saying anything, so you can concentrate.
supposed to fill the silence.
Well, I was trying to. He's not talking here.
Okay. Let's do that. Yeah.
So while you do that, fun story with the Baldur's Gate 2 instruction booklet. That booklet was thick. It was
2 C's?
look 3. Because it had a description of every spell in the game, and there was a lot of them because it's based off of, AD&D. And what I did when I was a kid, and John will probably remember this, is I like to make stuff a lot, and I would make prototypes for games or board games, or I made a console idea once and what HUDs would look like in the games before I realized that those two things aren't necessarily related.
With them here,
and one of the things I
Yevon
did
authorizes this whole operation.
Was I made a kind of PvP one-on-one but expandable paper game for those who didn't want to do a D&D adventure but actually just verse each other as players.
Are you ready?
And I made a character generator concept and a store and the spells you can know. And instead of just supplying the book to people because the spells would need to potentially be changed, I copied
Are you ready?
every spell from that book
Please hurry.
onto paper. And it took a long time, and I changed everything around, and I had everything set up. And I remember playing the game with John in his old bedroom, the one we were talking about yesterday, where we spent our entire summer between 7th and 8th grade. And we played it, and I just realized that there was no random mechanic to it, so it was very stagnant.
Anything could happen.
And it was like a solved game immediately. But I put
I'm a little
hours
nervous.
and days into just transcribing a manual over, and then I did nothing with it. But it was a lot of paper. Baldur's Gate 2 manual also was a D&D player's handbook. Yeah, you're not kidding. There's a lot.
Are you ready? Maester Keenock, please.
Will Sin come?
Sin always returns for its spawn. To make sure, we're going to encourage them to call out to it.
You won't have to. It'll come.
I remembered Orin telling me.
If you
Sin is my
build
old
a
man.
giant sin spawn cage,
Sin is
it will
jacked.
come.
It's very surprising you're at the final boss.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, this boy. So this was the thing. I could not get past this. So let's see if I can silence it. I don't think I can.
Yeah, I remember this guy.
It's immune. Okay, cool. What do I want to do? What do I want to do? Not that. I didn't want to do that.
So I also remembered, I think it was earlier today or last night, something I'd forgotten from a long time ago, of when I was doing all these prototypes. One of the ones I did was a point-and-click adventure game on paper. And I tried to run, I think, Mom and Dad through it.
Mm-hmm.
And I just had a bunch of pieces of paper with drawn-out environments. And I kept notes of like what they would say and where items were, and little zoomed up drawings of like a countertop that had the initials engraved in. That would be a clue. So I took a point-and-click adventure game and made
Dad, I can hear that.
a very paper-heavy tabletop game, which wouldn't work nowadays because of just the sheer amount of shit that you need, and just paper and a waste of the environment. But I used to do that all the time, and I guess it led towards like D&D and interest in Unity and coding and all that.
I think I got the order of AB wrong, but that's okay.
Oh, get rid of an arm.
Mm-hmm.
And also the console I did, it was called Game something, or I don't remember the exact name of it, but I remember the look of it. And it just looked like a horseshoe. And the console looked that way, and it had an entrance way for like the disc, and then the controller was also a horseshoe looking shape. Because I felt like that was the best way for all the buttons to be accessed, because I was sick of the N64 central joystick being somewhere in the D-pad being completely ignored to the left. So I think it was a console I was planning at between N64 and GameCube. I probably have my notes for it somewhere. I remember seeing it not too long ago. But I did a lot with pencil and paper back then, which I don't do much anymore. Now I have my whiteboard.
Well, that was very.
But Told, I know. Good. Told, I know you do, game creation and such. Do you have a similar history with just wanting to make stuff, prototyping, or just jotting ideas down on paper of what you'd like to create, and then it led to wanting to make games and programs? Because I know maybe with you did a lot of artwork or you used games to tell stories and drew a lot to put that stuff from your head into existence.
I always start, usually most of my character designs start with me drawing. I think of the kind of character that I want, and I just draw it, and I plan out that whole thing. So yeah, I've a lot of my initial like planning and thought when it comes to games comes from drawing.
I'm always curious to see where people get their creative influence. Like, Morgan heard me before. I was just, messing around on my electric piano. Just because I've been listening to a lot of music lately, and I just needed some creativity to be outputted. So I just sat down and just did music, and sometimes that helps me. Or watching a particular movie or a show, or putting on a particular artist or a YouTube series, like just trying to be into a particular mood, because I tend to be very I'm a big old empath, and I absorb a lot, and that comes from media and music and all that too. So I like to absorb all that so I can put it back, especially before streams and stuff. I want to have energy. Told says, for now, just trying to mash together some of my favorite things in games. That's fair. That's a good way that people... You don't want to make things of stuff you hate, because then you don't want to make it anymore. It makes the parts that you don't want to do even worse to do.
Let's get rid of this. Let's just get rid of this guy. Bye-bye. But yeah, that guy was the game ender for me in my first playthrough.
Yeah, well, if you didn't have the abilities unlocked or the levels, then completely understandable.
Yep. And this is where it gets... Actually, I think it's potentially the one with Seymour.
Let's go!
Oh, cutscene graphics.
Cutscene graphics. Giant Leviathan turtle whale. But it's cool, you can see a city in him. Which I don't think I've ever noticed really.
He is supposed to be American inside of it.
I don't know. Couldn't pay me to go into that water.
Nope.
Look out!
I love the cut to everybody all reacting thing. Yeah, that one.
Sorry, flashing lights,
shit.
guys. You might want to put a warning when we put this on YouTube that there's some flashing lights. I'm back, baby!
What a look from Una there.
Are we helping him or are we letting him get eaten?
Stand back, Lady Una.
Yes.
Well, apparently just letting him have it.
Probably shouldn't have let Baleford die. Oh, I'm Seymour. No? Yeah, whoops. Okay.
Oh, you're actually getting to control the villain? Interesting. Final
Yeah.
Fantasy VII did something similar.
Okay. Let's see. what do I want to do?
Just sit and pray. That's it.
Just
nothing else.
Pray. Actually, that's not a bad idea.
Be like Twitter.
Alright.
Toll says, only chance ever to see Seymour's limit break.
Alright. Oop, no.
Overkill.
Yep. What do I want to do? Let's just keep buffing.
There's a lot of lightning damage coming from that guy.
Nope, I didn't. Wow, he hits hard. I thought it was on Orin. Usually when I have, like, Yuna attack something, it's like, it's 4 damage.
Well, yeah, she's not meant for that.
No. Okay.
I mean, similarly, if Titus is going to cast a spell, I think it's going to be awful. That's not his thing.
Yeah, probably not.
Paul says, didn't you see Seymour pushing that thing like a sumo wrestler? That's a fair point.
Cure myself. Nice hit.
Yeah, I've been thinking lately, I know you didn't really express a lot of interest in playing 15, but I was wondering how you would feel about the story and such. But I think you would have a similar experience to John as not liking the combat system.
Probably. I think what didn't appeal to me about 15, and this is gonna maybe sound a little bad, but it's a lot of dudes. It's a lot of dudes on a road trip, and that's fine, but it kind of bores me. I'm not super into it.
See, what is surprising to me about that is the relationship between said dudes, I think, would interest you.
Yeah. It's potentially. I wasn't particularly interested in it. That doesn't mean. Wait, why does Seymour get so many levels? That's really funny.
He earned it.
Yeah, he did. Ooh, Dreamy Cat Sith. Okay, cool.
The others!
Yeah. Maybe want to wait before we run down to the beach there, Yuna.
It's a hell of a device you got there.
I don't know what is. I guess it's a Guado thing, but Seymour's like inner chest cave-in is such a weird thing.
Inner chest cave-in?
Yeah, I don't know if we'll see it when we go back to Yuna, but like it.
Oops.
There's like a circular shaped like cavity in his chest.
Now it's just see more butts. Okay, here we go. And
having that cheerful little chocobo run after this is just like. Ugh.
That just brought me back to waking up, sleeping on the beach. Never a good time. Don't do it.
Yeah. No, that's how you become a lobster.
Mm-hmm. That's how we got sun rash.
Mm. I think we're making fairly good time to where I want to be by the end of the stream. We might not make it entirely to Jose, but we'll be on our way.
On the way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's also basically the beginning of Ghost of Tsushima. And also Lost Odyssey.
Mm.
Lost Odyssey is a game I think I played like 30 minutes of it. I didn't get very far. A friend of mine borrowed it, and that's the last I saw of the game. It's very curious about it, but oh wells.
It's the risk you have with borrowing or letting people borrow your stuff.
Yep.
I lent somebody the first Night Angels trilogy book, and I regret it because I haven't seen it in 3 years.
What's going on? Why? What's going on?
Listen, I know this might be a controversial thing to say, but Sin's got a little bit of a badonk. I'd snap that in Pokemon Snap.
You would certainly snap that.
Don't you run away from me!
I have to say, he doesn't look anything like his father.
Everyone, stand back! I'll summon!
Yeah.
You won't hurt it. Your powers are still too weak.
But I must do something!
You can't.
Negative Nancy.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea what I was thinking when I ran after Sin that day.
Swimming furiously.
Before I knew what I was doing, there I was, chasing him down like a thief at market. Maybe I was angry. Maybe I wanted to go home. I kept thinking of Xanarkand and my old man.
You have some live stream in this game?
Hmm?
Is that the live stream? I don't know if that exists in 10.
I don't think so. So there's Lusu. He died. And that's the little boy from the very beginning.
It's very reminiscent of live stream, at least.
Extreme Film Grain Edition.
What?
They say you don't practice anymore, that you're gonna retire.
Let them talk. I'm still the best.
They say you're no good because you drink all the time.
I can quit drinking whenever I want.
Then do it now.
What did you say?
You just said you can.
Tomorrow, maybe.
Why not today?
Why do today what you can leave for tomorrow? There he goes again, crying.
So when people talk about how, like, Titus is a crybaby or, like, is a whiny boy, like, he also had a deeply
I thought I sensed my old man there.
traumatizing upbringing.
Somewhere. Or maybe it was just Sin's toxin playing tricks on my mind.
And told, yes, exactly like being in Mako from 7.
How many died today? People die and Yuna dances. When will she stop dancing? When will it stop? Yuna won't stop dancing. Not until Sin is gone. Those were my thoughts then, I think.
I see you're still here.
Huh?
Many stories ended here today. But yours goes on, I see.
What? Sin had come and gone, but I remained here.
Yep. Okay. So
It turns out the guy who voiced Jet is also in Lost Odyssey, the hero that I was talking about earlier.
Satisfied?
What do you
voice sounds
mean?
really familiar. We're trying to figure out what from.
Those who turned from Yevon died, while the faithful live on.
The past 10 years have changed you, I see.
You do not look so well. But now, more than ever, you must be the people's strength, their confidence. Anyone else would be expected to show their sorrow. But you are a summoner. You are Spira's hope. Until sin is defeated, you must not relent. Do you understand?
Yes, I understand.
Are you afraid? Yuna, take me as your pillar of strength. As Yuna Leska had her, Lord Zayon. Lady Yuna, until next we meet, farewell.
I really gotta hand it to his voice actor. He really manages, with his tone, to be so creepy.
So I know the voice actor who does Jet from Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater. He was the Pain. But he also voices Eeyore in Kingdom Hearts 2. His name is Greg Berger.
Oh.
That's like the idea of him being Jet and Eeyore. Holy shit, Tara Strong is Riku? I didn't know that.
Uh-huh.
I had no idea.
Yep.
And
You can't
Seymour,
ignore the
huh?
teachings.
Let's see who voices him.
Rest while you can. We leave soon.
Sin is Jecht.
Yeah. For a while there, I thought I could feel him. But that doesn't mean I believe you.
Sin is Jecht. He came here for you.
So he killed all those people just for a chance to see me?
That's what sin does. He wanted to show that to you. Do you know why?
How am I supposed to know?
So you would kill him.
Yep.
As long as he is sin, Jecht will keep killing. He wants you to stop him.
You gotta be kidding. How do you know all of this anyway?
Can't reveal that part of the story
I'm not done talking to you. Don't you run away.
You're the one running.
Well, that's we're walking. What you? All right.
So, guy who voices Seymour is Alex Ferdinand.
Alex Ferdinand.
Sorry, Fernandez.
Fernandez. Okay.
He was from the second season of True Detective. I don't know that one as much. First one is pretty embedded. I don't think we actually worked on the second one. It went elsewhere. He was in Blue Bloods, but I don't think I was working on that season yet.
I made a bundle with the operation prices.
Owaka, a
The
little.
way it turned out,
little
they
bit.
deserved a better deal.
There you go. I don't need it.
I guess the summoners.
Which is
I really don't know him
exactly
from all
the
too much.
point of this whole thing.
I know the look of the guy. Like, I recognize him. I don't really know him from anything in particular.
Hey, you two. Hurry up.
Groundbreaking.
She's awfully cheerful.
What's groundbreaking?
In dark times, she must be. She must shine bright.
This is the first time Kimari talks to you.
Now are dark times. Yuna tries hard.
We should help her then.
If we worry, she tries harder. Do not frown.
Don't worry, be happy.
Kimari try too.
Smile, let me see.
Fucking terrifying.
Sad.
Yeah, that didn't land well.
Quick, Josh,
Oh,
who's that
quick,
voice
Josh,
actor?
who's that voice actor?
Yeah.
Of so few words. Oh, of Kimari? Let me look it up.
These fuckers. We gotta silence these bad boys, I believe.
Mari Ronso is actually the same voice who does Waka, who is John DiMaggio. John DiMaggio being the voice of Bender from Futurama.
And a ton of other stuff.
Oh, so much stuff. That's like the main role that I know him from. He's also Jake from Adventure Time.
I think of him every time I make pancakes. Baking pancakes, making bacon pancakes.
Can't tell from just that one scene. No, because I put John DiMaggio's voice to Waka and Waka alone. I didn't think he was gonna play two parts. Shame on me.
This is why we needed softs. This is why we needed softs. These guys suck. I hate them. These guys suck. I hate them.
John DiMaggio's actor filmography is 412 credits long.
Cranky.
Yeah.
Oh, I just fixed that. What do I want to do here?
I also love the voice of Schnitzel from Chowder.
Please.
If I remember right, there's one episode where he didn't speak in Rada Rada, he spoke as something else, and everyone's like, no, that's weird.
Fuck you guys. petrification stuff is so annoying. Oh, I should have... okay, let me run back here. I need to level up and then save. And hey, can you give me stuff? Oh, okay.
That age of animation with, like, Adventure Time, Chowder, regular show, like, Gumball, all that stuff. It's such a crazy, weird dump of great animation that came after, in, like, a long period of time of, like, no show really hit that way. Like, the age of, say, like, I wasn't really into it, but, like, Ren and Stimpy and stuff, it fell off of that kind of train for a while, and then came back with a vengeance with all those other shows. And a lot of them did really well. Like, Adventure Time was solid. Regular show was a lot of fun. Chowder was nuts. But some really good shows out of that. I think Steven Universe came out of that same portion. So does Gravity Falls. Gravity Falls is so wonderful.
Gravity Falls.
I'm glad I actually sat down and watched that one after you recommended it.
Yeah, I forgot that he was poisoned. Ouch. Yeah, I love Gravity Falls. Mostly, I have a lot of id with Mabel, which you may or may not have. Grappling Hook. I love her. She's the best. Kristen Shaw has just such an incredible, like, unique voice, which I know she's in a lot of stuff with that voice, like she's Louise in Bob's Burgers and stuff, but I mean, it's just such a, like, really good voice.
Yeah. Well, some people just have that voice that you can apply to so many different characters and it just works.
Yep.
It's very similar of, like, I found out about Kevin Smith's new Masters of the Universe cartoon he's doing, and John told me that Mark Hamill was casted. I'm like, oh, it's Skeletor, right? Like, it has to be Skeletor. It's Skeletor. Of course it is. Because you can just apply that person's voice directly to it without any hesitation.
Yep. Also, Mark Hamill just seems to love doing the, like, kind of cheesy, campy villain voices.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he was cheesy, campy hero, too.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks for bearing with me, guys.
He just seems to have a lot of fun, which is great.
Nope. So that is it. Are we good? Alright. Great. And then I just want to see if there are any items in here that I've got that are anti-frickin' petrification. No. For you. For you. Let's do that.
Any spells cover that? Like a M barrier or something?
No. I don't think so. There is eventually reflect I can put on. Let's keep that there. She's got stone ward. Okay, that's good. Do you have anything? No. Alright. Okay. Save. And then it's 9:54. Why don't we call it for tonight here? And then we'll pick up next time.
Not next week, though.
Not next time, not next week. In 2 weeks, we will pick up with sorry, I just realized my schedule got maybe a little weird. So in 2 weeks, we should be doing another session of Final Fantasy. We will go down the Mushroom Rock Ridge, and it's the Jose High Road, and we will end up at the Jose Temple, where we will do some fun sphere games, some temple puzzles, and yeah, we'll go from there. I'm having fun doing this. I hope you guys are enjoying this. Thank you so much for staying in chat. Thank you, Nate, for coming in chat. I really appreciate it, and it makes it so much, like, easier to stream when someone's chatting in stream. And thank you, Josh, for helping answer questions and keep the chatter up while I'm focused on other things. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem.
But yeah. Next, what?
I was just gonna say tomorrow is Get Lucky with Bucky. I think John is planning on playing ESO, but he's still debating on what we'll do. But that should be tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern, as per usual.
I think we're doing, we're changing our characters from the last time we played ESO, and I think we're going to be doing the Kitty Squad, which is all cats. My character is called Peanut Butter Cookies.
Yep,
Really
and I'm playing
cute.
Scratching Post from my old Nerd Immersion stream days. But we'll see who we have and what we'll do. It also depends on how John's feeling, what he wants to do, because we want to play something that we're in the mood for.
Absolutely. So
yeah.
I will update the Twitter when we have better news on that. We had an episode release recently, so please go give that a listen. We are finally doing action stuff in our Storm Kings game as opposed to doing ages and ages of planning. And what else is coming up? Next week, I should be doing some Star Trek.
No, you're not.
I'm not?
No, you're on Long Island next week.
I'm not doing Star Trek next week. I need to let Eric know that I'm not doing Star Trek next week.
Yeah, there's also no Josh Plays Games next week, as we said yesterday, because Morgan and I will not be at our recording computers.
Yes, so I will. Oh, dang, I really. So that's a real bummer for us because we've had a lot of delays on Star Trek. But hopefully we'll get back in action soon, or the guys will play and Gideon will just be yawning the whole time. Ha ha ha! It's funny because she's got an ancient AI named Yawn in her head. Okay, well, thanks guys for hanging out and have a wonderful evening. If you're having a rough time right now, like I am, I really hope this was a fun and like relieving stress break for you. It certainly was for me, and I hope that things get better for you soon. Come hang out on Twitter with me. I'm trying to be on it less, but I'm still on there, so you can always say hi to me there, and I can get back to you or respond back to you soon. And have a wonderful evening, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.